This old 85 F-150 has a bumper that was painted. It's original bumper from when the dealership installed it. It's all painted and it looks really bad. I have a new stripper that I want to try to see if it would strip that paint off without getting it sandblasted or dipped or grind off with a sander or that. So I want to try this new stripper, and if this stripper works, it's going to be a game changer for me in my shop to take paint off of vehicles, metal, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but I sure hope it does. And if you're interested in finding out, please follow this video to the end to see the finished results on how this actually turns out. Before I get over there to strip it, I just want to show you how this bumper comes off. It only had 2 bolts on each side right in this area, and surprisingly they've never been off before. They came right off. A little bit of persuasion, but they did come off, and I was able to get that bumper removed fairly easy, and I moved it over to the work table. Let's quit delaying and get right to it. I got that bumper off. The 4 bolts came right out. The bumper's laying on a table. I've got cardboard under it, but I want to show you the writing on here the best I can. You probably won't be able to see this, but we're going to try. I'm going to focus you in here, and you see that inscription, W-I-N-D-H-A-M, Windham Ford Company Incorporated. Then on the other side, Baldwin, Mississippi. It says Baldwin, Mississippi right here. I don't know if you can read this, but let me zoom it in and see if you can. There you have it. Windham Ford Company Incorporated, Baldwin, Mississippi. Isn't that something? So that bumper was put on this truck prior to selling it at the factory, or not at the factory, but at the dealership. And so that's a little bit unique, and a lot of times these bumpers are ripped off, thrown away, nice shiny chrome ones put on. I may do that yet. I don't know. But I definitely will hang on to the original bumper. So let's get back over there and get stripping on that. I want to show you what I'm going to do. The product I'm going to test is this stuff right here. It's biodegradable. It's environmentally safe to your hands, to the smell, even to the taste. It's made out of soybeans. It's called Soy Gel Paint and Urethane Stripper by Blue Bear. I've used this for over a decade on furniture, and it works great. But I don't know how it's going to work or perform on this bumper, but we're going to find out, because if it takes the paint off of this bumper, this is definitely something I'll be using in my shop for the work, some of the work I do. The way I do that is I usually get a little container, a cheap throwaway brush, and then I have plastic. Now I want to say that there's many processes and methods to stripping anything. I developed my own way, and we'll see how that works. I know for me, you may have a different way. If you do, let me know. I'd be interested in hearing that. I don't have all the answers, that's for sure. But this is the way I do it, and I want to show you that way. It saved me a ton of time in furniture stripping. Let's get some stripper on this bumper and see what happens. You can wear gloves if you want. I don't. What I found out with this stripper is it dries your hands out some if you get too much on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on about halfway here, and I'm going to let it set. We're just going to see how it works before I put it on the whole bumper. Stuff costs, probably $70, $80 a gallon. So you really don't want to waste it, but you can't be chintzy with it either. You got to put on a really heavy coat, just like I'm doing here. And you can pick it up if you drop some. I try to have something underneath me that work so that I can pick up stuff that spills off and take care of it that way. Okay, we're going to let that go, but let me show you what I do. This is a trick I learned several years ago. Caught on. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. But I take a piece of plastic like this I'm rolling out. I'm going to get a scissors and cut that. Couldn't find a scissors, but I did find a knife. Let's just cut this. This is approximately 10 foot by 4 foot. And what I do with that is after I get the varnish all on the product, I wrap it in Visqueen. And you wonder why I do that. Well, there's a good reason. This stuff has a tendency of drying out, and when you put that Visqueen around it, it holds that wet product onto the surface, and that's what you want. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. That's entirely up to you, but I'm showing you a little trick that I learned. If you want to use it, fine. If not, that's fine too. Just shove that under in there like that and cold all of this up, and we'll just let that set there now. I'm going to let that set for about an hour or so, and we'll take it off and see if it softened it up at all. It may not have, but again, it may have. I don't know. We'll check. That's what I'm doing. I'm testing it. It's been a little over an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I didn't keep track, but you can see how that's starting to wrinkle up. There is another coat underneath. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I want to show you something in front that I found interesting. I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but I'll bring you in real tight. But you see that orange that's starting to bleed through? At one time, those letters were colored that orange color. Boy, isn't that unique. What I'm going to do is go at it and get set up outside. Now, the way I do stuff like this, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but once I get it to this point, I take the pressure sprayer to it and spray all that stuff off. Now, I want to remind you of something. This is an environmentally friendly product. So you can get by with doing that. You can't do that with some of the other products. But I'm going to carry this outside and I'm going to spray it down with my pressure sprayer. I'll try to show you a little bit. It blew that paint right off of there. I can see paint on the underneath side. What I'm going to do is let that dry and bring it back up here and give it another coat. And I may let that one sit overnight. I'm going to do the whole bumper this time. But I'm going to go ahead and degrease the backside of that and get that all cleaned up. And I'm going to put stripper over the whole bumper. That stuff worked good on that metal. If you're going to do a whole vehicle like that, you could put that stripper on the whole thing, cover it with that plastic, let it set overnight, come the next day and blow it off with your pressure sprayer, and you'd be down to the bare metal or the Bondo or whatever's under it. Pretty darn quick. A lot easier than sanding all that off or deforming your metal by sandblasting or however you would do it. Well, I have this bumper back on my table here. You can take a look at this. It didn't turn out too bad. I'm not sure what that gray is, but it would definitely need some more work before I would paint that. And sandblasting definitely would have cleaned it up better. But the point of this video was to see how that actually came off, and it came off great. Now what I need to do to this bumper is I'm going to go ahead and put the stripper on the rest of it, get it all blasted off the best I can. I'll let it set overnight this time, and I'll do the same process, go out there and spray it off and bring it back in here, and we'll see. Maybe you'll even get to see the finished product. I think I'm just going to go ahead and repaint it, rust-proof the inside, repaint the white. I'm not good enough to put red in here, I don't think, but boy, that would look nice, wouldn't it? I've let this bumper set 24 hours. You can see it down here, and with the stripper on like I put on the whole thing. Now let me go outside and finish spraying this off, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get the rest of it with that stripper on for 24 hours. Let's see if it made a difference from yesterday. Okay, I'm out here with this bumper, and it took me about 20 minutes to spray it down, but I want to show you the finished product on the stripper. You can see that. I will zoom in just a little bit. Hopefully you can get a good look at it. Honestly, it took most of the paint off, and it'll take a little work yet to get some of that gray off. That gray is extremely tight, but for the most part, I conclude again that that stripper does a great job. That set overnight, and that stuff came off a lot easier by letting it set overnight. I'm not a metal stripper expert, but I have stripped a lot of furniture using this same product. It works great for that. Would consider myself somewhat of an expert on furniture stripping, but not metal stripping. Process for me would be the same. Even if it was on the side of a vehicle, I'd still mat that Visqueen over it to keep it from drying out. I appreciate you following to the end. Can it be fixed? Sure it can. Can you fix it? You're darn right you can. And if you want to see another video in preparation for putting a new bumper on this truck right over here, I removed the bumper recently and I'm going to put a new bumper on it. But if you want to see the process of me removing that bumper, which it was a challenge, I'd encourage you to watch this video right here. Until the next one.